In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a listing with variations on eBay. This option isn't available with every listing, but it is available for some. And in this video, we're going to list some jewelry. So let's go find some pins to list. If you've been following my channel, Avante-Avenue, you know that I have lots and lots of jewelry to list. I'm trying to find pins. Nope, these are earrings. More earrings. More earrings, more earrings, Christmas pins. I'm not really looking for those right now. More earrings. Nope, these are bracelets. Finally, I found pins. Let's pull the drawer, take it to the table, and sort things out. I'm looking for 16 pins. That's how many I'm going to work with in this tutorial. So this should be a very good example for you on how to do a listing with variations. How is it that I can have so much jewelry that's not listed? You might say I like to buy it. Keep watching here. I have 16 pins picked out. Some of them are in bags, some not. I'm going to remove all of them from the bags and lay them out in 4 rows of 4. And I'm just using a black tablecloth for the background. In my first photo, I'm including this little note that says sold individually. Select options from drop-down box. If I don't do this, anyone looking at this will think they're getting the whole lot instead of individually. And there will still be people who are confused by it. And I'm including one photo that has a ruler just for size comparison. And this is something I created in one of my photo apps where I was able to number the pins. So let's get started on that eBay listing with variations. When you're selling anything on eBay, you can go to the search bar. I typed in pin and brooch to start my listing. Create your title. In this case, I'm putting vintage pin brooch gold tone metal sold individually, and you'll see throughout this video that I tweak this title a little bit. I like to use the custom label SKU. This is where I put in the date of my listing. Next, we choose a category for eBay. And I'm choosing vintage pins and brooches. If you have a store category, select that. I'm choosing women's accessories, jewelry, and brooches and pins. Now, this is what we're looking for. If it doesn't say variations here, you don't have that option in that eBay category. But for jewelry, I do have it, and so I use it whenever I can. It's really a great feature because I can list multiple items and sometimes make more than one sale to the buyer. So let's click on Create Variations, and I'll walk you through it step by step. Whoa, this is overwhelming. This is the most options I've ever seen in a Create a Variation. So it's defaulting to all these options that you can choose. And because I'm listing a mixed variety of pins, I'm not going to use any of these. I'm just going to ignore them. But I am going to add a variation attribute. I uncheck main stone, I uncheck material, and I check the box that says add your own attribute. I'm only going to add one attribute, and I type in select pin option and hit save. You can see the attribute that I typed in above, and now we're under options and we're going to choose create your own. And this is where I add in each of my variations for these 16 pins. Typing in for the first one, 1, because it's number 1 pin, but 1 sun, moon, stars, 1 3/4 inch. You don't have a lot of room to type, so you're going to have to think about the brief description you're going to add for each variation. And then I hit the button that says add, and this first variation will show up on the right-hand side under attributes and options as you see it here. For whatever reason, my screen recorder on eBay isn't very crisp and clear. I do zoom in whenever possible, and that's why sometimes I add the text in red lettering for you. Let's go back and create another one. This time it's number 2, special grandmother 1 7/8 inch. Hit the add button, and there it is. It shows up on the right hand side, and we'll continue this process until we have all 16 pins listed. But I'll skip forward until we get to the 16th pin. And the 16th pin is the schoolhouse with bell. I add it. I do want to say that if they're not in order for some reason, you can drag them around into the order that you wish. You can exit out and delete it. You can add more. you can edit here, and you can come back and edit at any time and hit continue. But if you do come back and edit and change this, always recheck. You'll see on the next page, always recheck your quantity and your price. You can see here where I've circled number 16 next to the number of variations. You can see all the variations in that paragraph. And now we're going to add some photos. I've imported the photo with the ruler. Also imported the photo with the sold individually, which I'll probably move into first place. And I imported the photo with the numbers. And I'm going to move these around a little bit. Now here's a very important step. I'm going to show you how to add individual photos per variation. If you do not add individual photos, you will just have the lead photos show up for every listing. But you have up to 12 photos you can add for each variation. This is a step that I think most people miss. Watch here and I'm going to show you step by step how to do it. Where it says add variation photos, drop open that box. Instead of using default photos, we're going to choose select pin option. This is where you see all of your variations lined up, and I'm going to choose the first one, number 1, sun, moon, and stars, and then go over to the right and add my photos. And I'm pretty certain you know how to add photos. I'll just walk through a few here. Per that specific variation, we're adding photos. Up to 12 if you want. As you know, with eBay listings, we can only add 12 photos per listing. But with variations, you can add up to 12 photos for each variation. But for this example, for my pins, I only need a few photos per pin. I'm not going to do this for all 16 pins. I'm just showing in detail. All 16 are done, and I'm going to quickly scroll down through here so you can see how each variation has photos tied to it. Let's scroll down a little bit. This is where you can add a SKU number if you want. You add the quantity, you add the price. If you do not fill in the quantity and the price, your item will not show on the listing. So make sure you check everything twice. This is very important to take your time when you're working with variations. I'm going to make a few changes here just to show you. And I'm going to add some prices. And when everything is done, choose Save and Close. If you chose Save and Preview, you're not going to actually see your variations in action. It's just not going to work. So I don't even bother with it. I just do Save and Close. We're back to the regular listing page. Make sure you put in your condition notes. I have typed in Read All, Pre-Owned, Vintage, Lightly Used, See All Photos, Sold Individually, Select Option from drop-down box. I put that in every description. That sold individually, select option from drop-down box in every variation listing that I do. I want no mistake that they're not getting all of these pins for one price. And I went back and added good condition. I'm going to walk you through the rest of the listing as to how I do it. For brand, because there's so many, I put unbranded. For metal, I put assorted. For country, I put unknown. And now let's do the item description. I scroll on up to the title that I created. I realized I hadn't added select option, so I fixed that. I also added a few more descriptive words for the pins, and then I highlighted the entire title, then scrolled back down and pasted it into the description. Next, I type the word condition, and then I scroll up and copy and paste the condition notes into the description. And a few other things I add to all of my listings. I say packaged carefully and mailed best way with tracking. I add thank you, Avante-Avenue. You can see under price and quantity that we have 16 available. I always choose private listing. That's something I do on every listing that I have. So when I send offers or accept offers, when someone looks at my feedback, private means they do not get to see what sold or how much it sold for. It's private. But you as the seller can always see that information. Here's another very important step. If you want your buyer to be able to buy more than one item from your variations, you have to uncheck the box, Require Immediate Payment. By default, it's checked for me. In general, that's what I use, but I uncheck it for variation listings. In shipping, I'm just changing it to first class. Flat rate, I'm charging $3.95 plus $1 for each additional. My handling time happens to be 3 days. The weight is 1 pound or less. Really, this comes into play more so with priority, but sometimes this defaults to something because it tends to pick up that I typically ship priority, so make sure it says 1 pound or less if you're sending first-class mail. And here's an option that you may never have thought of using, volume pricing. It's at the bottom of every listing that has quantities. So I check that box, offer discount, and I'm editing this to say 10% off for 2 or more, 12% for 3 or more, and 15% off 4 or more. It's a great feature. And now it's time to list the item, our listing with variations. I'm going to walk you through a few of these and show you what it looks like. You can see the save up to 15% when you buy more on the top left corner. Let's open that drop down box to number 1, and we see the moon and stars pin as well as the additional photos that I tied to it. And you can just scroll on down through and check everything. The grandmother pin, the price that you tied to the variation, the photos that you tied to the variation, all of that shows up when you select the pin option, which is of course what I typed in there, right? The attribute was select pin option. We'll take a look at a few of these here. Let's take a look at the shipping. Under shipping, let's click on see details. And this is what your buyer sees. The shipping is $3.95, and then for each additional item you see here it's only $1. This is how you increase your sales in a listing with variations. If you have anything in the condition for one of the items that you're listing, either included in your general condition note, in your photos for that item, put that information somewhere and tie it to the item if you have any condition issues. Now I'm going to show you how I store the inventory, store the jewelry, so that I can easily find it when it sells. On a label, I just created a number system using the date 0926. I left off the year 21 and just added -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way through 16. The pins are then stored in individual zip bags, and then I placed all of those small bags into a larger bag with the full date -1 through -16 as you see here. Let's just take another look from the first listing to the 16th, from the first variation to the 16th variation, the schoolhouse, all the photos that you set up, all the information from quantity to price shows up in your listing with variations. This is really important. Please hear me out on this. Do not end a listing with variations and sell similar unless you take the time to check the quantity, the price, the variations, because it will automatically take it back to the original quantity, and that's not a good thing. Whether you sell similar or you relist, I know it absolutely works with relist. It puts all the inventory back in there, so be very careful. I've had it happen to me once. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to set up an eBay listing with variations. I'd really appreciate your comments, thumbs up, invite you to like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Hope it's been helpful. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Vicki with Avante-Avenue. I'll see you soon. And check out my other 200+ videos on my channel, Avante-Avenue.